Hello and welcome to Sproutlogic Gardening. My name's Mike. Today we continue our series on winter garden planning. It's going to be all about our first plantings and early garden maintenance. So let's get started. So what does first plantings mean exactly? So remember, in this series we started with a plan. We walked this garden or your garden, looked around, figured out what exactly do we have to work with? How's the sun move through the garden? How does I don't know if you can hear it, the ground, how does drainage or water move through the garden exactly? So when we take all that into consideration, plus the physical plan that we made, now's the time to start putting some things in the ground. Now, I've already started that, of course. I put lupin in earlier in the season. I did sweet peas in the last episode. But, more specifically, we want to start going into those cold weather crops. So it's February, it's still winter technically. And even though today you wouldn't even know, considering it's again almost 70 degrees, you're going to want to plant things that enjoy the cooler weather. Sweet peas, sweet pea flowers, cabbages, those types of things that prefer the cooler temperatures and can survive it without too much trouble. So those are our initial considerations. Now I'm going to walk you through a little bit some of the stuff I'm starting indoors because believe it or not, some of these things I'm going to start them indoors and then bring them out a little bit later on. It's still a tad bit early for certain flowers. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that for you.
So this is the first time for the channel actually seeing my little indoor garden workbench. I keep it basically to have tools and store all kinds of different stuff like fertilizer, and I do my work on there when I'm dealing with seeds or maybe indoor plantings or prunings I need to take care of. But what you're basically seeing here is me starting off with the two things I'm going to be rolling with as of right now, and that's going to be a strawberry, and I'm also planting a delphinium, and I'm going with Eden Brothers seeds, of course. When I do this, I really enjoy their products, have great germination rates, and of course, I'm not affiliated with them. I'll mention that right now. Now, how did I plan this exactly? Well, spoiler alert, I actually used ChatGPT. I listed all the seeds and things I wanted to start for the season. I gave it where I basically live as far as zip code. I gave it some general information, and it was able to produce a great little cheat sheet for me, which I'll also throw up on the screen here to show you. And it breaks down when exactly I need to put things in the ground. If I put them in the ground, do I start them indoors? And kind of the timing behind that. So, based on that little chart, this was the time to start the delphinium. I did not actually have the strawberry in there, but I know it's also a cold weather crop. And of course, this is a good time to start it. When it comes to gardening, you want to use every tool and edge we possibly can get to make our lives easier. We want this to be as stress free as possible. And it's very hard to keep track of this information if I was to simply just read off seed packets. Could I write it down on a piece of paper, an Excel spreadsheet? Sure. But remember also, sometimes seed packets give you generic information versus zone specific stuff. Something we want to keep in mind, of course. But by using this stuff, we get set up for the season, and I'll show you the next step in this whole process here.
All right, something cool I wanted to share with you. This is my indoor grow tent. Now, its main purpose primarily is to help me start seedlings off for the season. So I got this seedling tray right here with its own individual LED lights to help it grow. Also, I got a grow light here, and I was doing a little experiment. That's a sweet pea flower behind me. I wanted to see if I can grow it indoors and how successful it would be. So far, it's looking pretty good. These give you a huge advantage if you have them. Once you seal them up, they're protected, the temperature is really steady, plenty of light, and the reflective material makes sure the light's reflected all over the place so the plants are getting hit from all angles. This gives you a big edge, like I said. Now, if you don't have these, no big deal, of course. You could always start seedlings indoors, move them out along a windowsill, or bring them out on your patio or outside on the deck during the day. Make sure to bring them in at nighttime so they're protected from the cold. But this gives you a pretty good head start. And as you saw, I started two things basically. I have my strawberries that I started. That's a surprise addition. My delphinium that's going out as well. So let's head outside and take a look at what else we need to get done for the season. So after checking out my initial indoor setup, you can see I got a couple areas. A planning area essentially where I kind of get things together. And then I have my actual grow tent where I start seedlings or keep plants indoors that need to be protected from the winter. Typically there's going to be potted or I'll transfer them to a pot in order to make sure they're okay. So now what we're going to do is come outside and start doing some of those early maintenance tasks. So let's go look at a couple of those that we can start right now. All right, so some of our earlier maintenance tasks we'll be taken care of course, is watering. Now, I put some seeds out earlier, about a week or so ago, and these are royal sweet pea flower seeds that basically will start outdoors, and they're okay with the colder temperatures. We got to make sure that they're watered, of course. So we'll give them a splash of water here just to make sure, give them a good start. This dianthus I'm going to water as well since it's a little bit warmer and it's going to be warmer for a bit. So give it a splash of water. Really important, we're not looking to soak these beds. We're not looking to really heavily water them. My irrigation's still turned off, it's too cold. The risk of the lines freezing is pretty serious, so we don't want to have any broken lines and have to repair later on. The idea is to be ready to go for the season, not be dealing with maintenance or other issues because we moved a little too quickly. Other things you're going to keep an eye out for: is your soil rejecting water? Has it been dry for so long that when you give it water, it just kind of runs off to the sides? You'll need to address that. You want to make sure the soil's in good condition, your mulch is prepared and down and ready to go, and so that we're ready to roll for the season and not have to worry about these little things in between. So a couple things to keep an eye out for with this whole process. Number one, seedlings can still be taken out by frost, and frost is a real risk right now. So even these guys I'm starting outside and the lupin, there's a potential there that if I don't protect them, if a hard frost comes in, they could actually die. And that means I have to start all over again in this bed. So we're keeping an eye out for frost. Now I will say early pests, but I need to preface that, and I shouldn't really use the word pests. So something was stealing my seedlings and my seeds that I was planting. I'm presuming it's doves. They're known to do that, especially this time of year. I haven't caught them in the act, but I've seen them around the area here. So I'm presuming they're just getting something to eat. They're hungry. So we have to be keeping an eye out for those things as well, because you might be planting stuff and as fast as you plant it and it starts growing, it's gone. So you have to protect your stuff from early season. We'll call them not pests necessarily, but additions to your garden that might actually cause some issues for you. So those are two main things, obviously. The soil good. Are we protecting our stuff from frost and or outside forces that could eat or damage those crops? If you keep that in mind, you got a pretty good start to the season and you'll be able to move forward without too many issues. I guess the other thing you got to keep in mind as well is timing. The stuff you're putting out, is it really the proper time to put it out? Just keep that in the back of your mind when you're doing this, because if you start something too early, potentially it's going to get wiped out by the frost or the cooler weather. So I think the next thing we should probably talk about is kind of where do we go from here? What happens after this? So, what exactly happened on this episode? Well, essentially, we were just continuing throughout the entire season with our plan, and this is part of the plan. We did a little bit of early prep for planting, put some things indoors to start off with. We messed around with our beds, a little light watering on the seeds we placed, made sure mulch was good. We inspected for pests or outside forces like birds that might get involved in your garden and eat some of those early seedlings. So, we're just continuing this entire trend and this plan to make sure that we're good to go. But remember, plans are not something set in stone. You need to adapt to be ready to change. And that can definitely happen this time of year. A snap frost, birds, bugs, who knows? If something goes wrong, don't worry. The reason why we put this plan in place is it gives you the flexibility and the time to make adjustments. And, speaking of adjustments, look at the strawberry seeds I was planting earlier. Those were a gift from my wife. I had zero intention of putting strawberries out in these beds, but guess what? Plans change. I want to plant them, and why not? I left room for them to make sure I could. So I hope this video helps. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. This really helps my new channel. And also, one last thing. Our next episode will be the final one in this particular series. So stay tuned. We'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.